Hello guys, and we continue the implementation of the Ukrainian peace plan by destroying a big column of Russian tanks inside the Kursk region. An interesting detail: Russians decided to put red old Soviet communist flags on top of their tanks, and of course this could not remain unnoticed by the Ukrainian drones, who paid a visit and neutralized a dozen of Russian tanks together with their drivers. This is insane that Russians keep glorifying the Soviet period and actually right now are working hard on the restoration of this monstrous empire. They keep quoting Stalin, they have his portraits everywhere, and personally I believe that one of the reasons for this war is that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, no serious trial, decommunization and prosecution of the Soviet crimes took place in Russia. They simply pretended nothing happened, even when millions of Russians died because of that. So right now, when Ukrainian drones destroy Russian tanks with red flags, we actually serve the justice. And as a beautiful bonus, another Russian oil refinery neutralized in Ilsk. So let's discuss how all of that helps to achieve lasting peace in Ukraine and the world from an ordinary Ukrainian perspective. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, actually in Kyiv, our brave capital right now, sending you warmest greetings and please subscribe if you're new. Together we will witness the collapse of the Kremlin, and that is super important, just as the collapse of these tanks. So this beautiful event took place yesterday when many were talking, creating chaos, some negotiations without Ukraine in Saudi Arabia, and by our strong stance and actions, we actually demonstrate no negotiations without Ukraine are possible, adding that negotiations should start only when Russia will be begging for this peace. And we are working on that by destroying the columns of their tank, more than a dozen. This is insane, even for Russia, that they have chosen to drive a totally mined road. Yes, now they have such roads in Russia too, all because back in 2014 and then in 2022, Russians wanted war. They invited it home. And right now, despite all the efforts, despite thousands of North Korean soldiers on the front lines, they cannot take back the Kursk region. Most importantly, we keep destroying command points there, but Russians keep committing these very illogical steps, like driving your tanks along the mined road. So part of the tanks were stopped by the mines, and another part was stopped by beautiful, big Ukrainian drones. And there are lots of videos that demonstrate this mistake of the Russian forces. And actually, this is like a million of mistakes that they committed. And the first one was to invade Ukraine because we are stronger than you think. And we demonstrate that every day. And the only peace plan and the only sanctions that are working, they are, brought by Ukrainian drones. So do support our campaign with Ukraine aid operations for the brigades that are actually working in Kursk right now. And here I connect the link. So -10, actually more, according to the report, tanks that were decorated with these bloody Soviet flags. People of the USA, please remember that Russia and the United States were never friends, and that Soviet Union was actually your enemy in the times of Cold War, and it is not the right moment in history to give up and lose this second round of the Cold War. Someone please ask President Trump to stop this PR of Russia and its invincibility. When he says they won the Second World War, let him remember that there were millions of Ukrainians in the Soviet army and that the main military theater took place in Ukraine, not in Russia. And it is the heroism of Ukrainian people that stopped the Nazi regime here. And we are doing it right now again. Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine, and please share these videos on your social media platforms because you see they work in shaping people's opinion, and some spread disinformation, others fight for the truth. And that's exactly what we are doing in Ukraine, and I'm sure all sane people see that and understand that, even if the stance of some politicians shift, this does not mean that the attitude of their nation changes. So another beautiful bonus that happened tonight was a visit of Ukrainian drones to a number of oil refining facilities inside Russia, and perhaps the best target was an oil refinery in Ilsk. It is a big oil refinery capable of processing approximately 7 million tons per year. And what is beautiful, the detonation was so serious that the population that did not suffer, because we target only legitimate objects, but this population managed to count 20 explosions. And I'm sure that those who hear such explosions, that those who see videos of Russian tanks destroyed because of, like, I don't know, Russian narrow-mindedness and effective Ukrainian drones, they realize that Russia should start begging for peace, and Putin must be taken to The Hague, not to Saudi Arabia or White House. What are we talking about? One of the greatest war criminals in the modern history, a person who wants to undermine our world order. It's not about Ukraine, it's about the world. And I know that our community understands that, but we have to keep persuading people. I'm surprised that after 3 years of this full-scale invasion, we have to keep doing that. And at this moment, I believe that even Russians hear us better, with these detonations on their military objects. And they clearly understand that if Putin is not given a tactical pause that he wants, then Russia will collapse. And after the collapse of Putin's regime, it will be much easier, to guarantee lasting peace for the world, and my part of it in particular. Ukrainians are determined to keep implementing this peace plan, and there are two main strategies to demilitarize Russia and to target its oil refineries that fuel military machine. Please share the videos, this works. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Do check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Follow me on Instagram. I share more of everyday life there, and I will share some updates from our beautiful cave. Actually, it's quite cold here. Perhaps for the first time during this winter, we have a lot of snow, and I want spring, and it's better for people on the front lines too. Also follow me on X, I'm fighting there. I'm on Blue Sky and communities, growing threads, and of course Discord. Thank you so much for all the advice that you give me. Thank you so much for all the support that I hear. I know that people in Australia, in Canada, in the United States, in the European Union, on Fiji and Antigua stand with Ukraine, because this evil that comes from Russia must be punished. If it is appeased, this will simply bring the Third World War, and I'm sure nobody wants that. So just follow Ukraine's advice. Keep defeating Russia. That is the only way. I know you know that. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the kind messages. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!